Ever feel like you're just running on empty, no matter what you do? Like there's some invisible thief stealing your energy right from under your nose. Well, today, we're going to crack the case on this biological heist. We're going to unmask a silent saboteur that might just be at the heart of why so many of us feel so exhausted. I mean, it's such a common story, right? You get your 8 hours, you try to eat well, maybe you even exercise, but you still wake up feeling completely drained, like your battery just never gets to 100%. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're in exactly the right place, because we're about to explore a powerful and honestly an often overlooked reason why. Okay, so let's get into it. Our number one suspect is a compound called glyphosate. You've probably heard of it. It's the active ingredient in a lot of common herbicides, the chemicals used to kill weeds. Now, it's designed to target plants, but it turns out it has this profound and mostly unseen effect on the trillions of tiny microbes living inside of us. And that is where the energy heist really begins. So, how exactly does this invisible enemy do its work? Well, the mechanism is fascinating, and it's also incredibly precise. And you know what? It all hinges on a huge misunderstanding of what actually makes us, well, us. So here's the argument you always hear for why glyphosate is safe for people. The claim is that it's harmless because our human cells don't have something called the shikimate pathway. And technically that's true, our cells don't. But here's the reality check. We are not just our human cells. Our gut is this teeming, complex ecosystem, and our gut microbes absolutely depend on that pathway to create essential amino acids to survive. So what glyphosate really is a broad-spectrum antibiotic for our internal garden. And the scale of this is it's staggering. Research shows that a massive 54% of the core species of bacteria in our gut are sensitive to glyphosate. So we're not just talking about a little bit of damage here and there. This stuff has the potential to wipe out over half of the critical ecosystem that regulates pretty much everything: our health, our mood, and crucially, our energy. Okay, so let's move from the gut to the actual crime scene, your cells. Because this isn't just a gut problem, you see. It's a systemic energy crisis that starts in your gut and ends in your mitochondria. Those are your cellular power plants, where the real energy currency of your body, something called ATP, is actually made. This brings us to a really critical idea: the gut-mitochondria axis. The best way to think about it is like a biological power cord. Seriously. The microbes in your gut create signals that literally plug directly into your mitochondria, telling them how much power to make. When that cord is healthy and plugged in, you've got all the energy you need. But when it gets cut, the lights just go out. And this leaves out the chain reaction perfectly. So first, glyphosate attacks the gut and wipes out those key friendly bacteria. When that happens, you lose the critical signals they sent out, like a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate, which is a primary fuel for our cells. Without that fuel, your mitochondria don't get the message to produce energy. Instead, they get a distress signal and they shift into this low-power survival mode to try and save resources. And the damage isn't just a theory, it's measurable, and it's severe. In this kind of microbiome-depleted environment, your ATP production, that's your cell's energy cache, can literally plummet by as much as 40%. A 40% drop in your body's energy supply. I mean, that's the difference between thriving and just barely surviving. And this is a big but. Here's the good news. We have the intel to fight back. There's a master plan for recovery, a really structured way to rebuild our internal ecosystem. It's called the RISE protocol. Now, it's really important not to get this confused with the RICE protocol, for a sprained ankle. RICE is a short-term external fix for an acute injury. RISE is completely different. It's a long-term internal marathon. It's about systemically rebuilding from the inside out, not just slapping a bandage on the problem. The protocol itself is broken down into 4 really clear phases. First, you reset the system. That means getting rid of the toxins and inflammatory foods that are causing the damage in the first place. Then, you identify what's going on in your unique gut using functional testing. Next, you support that environment with targeted nutrients and biotics, the actual building blocks for repair. And finally, you excel by cementing those long-term habits to maintain that new vitality for good. Now, within that framework, there are some incredibly powerful, almost secret weapons that we can use to speed up the healing and protect ourselves from future damage. Okay, this is a brilliant piece of biochemical strategy. Glyphosate is what we call a molecular mimic. It looks almost identical to an essential amino acid called glycine. So the glycine saturation strategy is all about flooding your system with about 3 to 5 grams of real glycine. This basically crowds out the glyphosate, making sure your body uses the correct, healthy building block when it's making new proteins. This quote just nails the problem perfectly. The body, not distinguishing between the two, mistakenly incorporates this toxin into protein synthesis. Your body literally can't tell the difference. So by giving it way more of the good stuff, we're basically running a defensive play at the molecular level to protect our cellular integrity. All right, so that's defense. But we also have to go on offense. We need to actively reignite those mitochondrial engines to get our ATP production humming again. And you know what? Two of the most powerful tools for this are surprisingly simple. First, early morning sunlight or red light therapy. It's rich in red and near-infrared light, which directly stimulates a key enzyme in our mitochondria that helps kickstart ATP production. And second, pulsed fasting, like a 16-8 schedule, triggers a process called mitophagy, which is basically a cellular house cleaning that gets rid of old, damaged mitochondria to make room for new, high-powered ones. This all sounds fantastic, right? But what does the road to recovery actually look like? I mean, how long does this take? It's not an overnight fix. It happens in these very predictable waves. The first wave is actually incredibly fast. You can see a significant shift in your microbiome in just 1 to 3 days. Then, over the next 2 to 4 weeks, your body really focuses on repairing your gut lining. But the deep work, the birth of brand new mitochondria, that's called biogenesis, that takes about 3 to 6 months to really establish a new, resilient energy baseline. And the cool part is, we can actually track this progress with real-world milestones. Within about 7 to 10 days, as your blood sugar starts to stabilize, you might feel that brain fog start to lift. Then, in a few weeks, as your gut lining heals, you might see your skin get clearer. And then, by that 3 to 6 month mark, you establish a whole new baseline of sustained mental and physical energy. It's amazing. Now, a quick but really important heads up, in that first week or so, some people might experience something called a Herxheimer reaction. It might feel like a bit of fatigue or a headache, and that can be alarming, but it's actually a fantastic sign. It means the protocol is working. It means the bad guys in your gut are being eliminated. This quote just reframes it perfectly. It is not a failure of the protocol, but a signal of a successful ecological transition. So don't think of it as a setback, think of it as the sound of victory, the signal that a really healthy change is underway inside you. So there you have it. We've unmasked the saboteur, we've investigated the crime scene, and we've laid out the entire master plan for recovery. The heist on your cellular energy is sophisticated for sure, but it is not unstoppable. So the only real question left is, now that you have the intel, are you ready to fight back and win back the biological power that is rightfully yours?